What is this? This or this? Creating a new dance. And we're back. Not drunk, coffee, just in case you're wondering. I'm Carl Carell. This is Music Gear Mondays, and today we are talking about the Ableton Push 2, more specifically Ableton 11 Live and the update, what it's gonna do to your Ableton Push 2. Don't worry, it's not gonna explode or turn into an artificial intelligent machine and eat your face.
I'll be back.
There are going to be some really cool features coming to it. So I've owned the Ableton Push 2 for, I want to say, maybe even over 3 years. It's been about 5 years since they updated from the Ableton Push 1 to the Ableton Push 2. The reason why is because the Ableton Push 2 is capable of doing a lot of stuff. With Ableton Live coming out with an update, Ableton Live 11, we're going to see a lot more features that are going to kind of elevate it a little bit and give you a brand new experience. Features that I really love on the Ableton Push 2, I really like using my launch view on there, and I love the fact that you can go in and play instruments right off the pads. You have the ribbon strip to give you pitch bends. Being able to use the encoders live to control effects and different parameters. I like that you can see exactly what you're doing. On some controllers where you don't have a screen, you kind of just have to go off a memory, or you have to keep glancing back at your computer screen, and the Ableton Push 2 has made it so that you can really set up your session, and once you learn the Ableton Push 2, you can run your whole session without going back and forth from the computer as much. There are still little things like launching the software and stuff like that that you have to do, but other than that, there are a lot of things that you can, adding instruments, adding effects, adding tracks, looping, recording, everything is pretty much there. So the only thing that bugs me is I've owned this Ableton Push 2 for so long, and I have not felt like I've used it to its fullest potential. I feel like maybe that's FOMO, but at the same time, I really want to get more out of my Ableton Push 2, and I'm hoping that with some of these updates that it'll inspire me to do that. I hope. We'll see. So a couple things that I used to say I wanted to see on the Ableton Push 2 in the future. One was bringing that LED screen to life a little bit more, with more colors, with more features, with just a little bit more visual aspects. And with that update, I feel like they might be addressing some of that. The other thing that I really wanted to see, maybe on an updated version of the Ableton Push, was the pads. I feel like the pads on the Push feel a little bit stiff. They're not as responsive as something like an MPC, but with this new update coming out, they're adding a little bit more of the velocity sensitivity and a little bit more of the expression for the aftertouch responsiveness. I feel like that actually might help with the way the pads feel. They're not terrible pads. I just feel like the responsiveness and the feel of the pad differ sometimes when you're playing on it. There wasn't much more that I wanted to see updated in the Ableton Push 2. I know it's been 5 years since it came out, but the Ableton Push 2 is a pretty solid piece of gear. And if you haven't gotten to check one out and you own Ableton, the Push 2 could be a pretty essential piece to your studio. So, updates in the Ableton Push 2. I did a reaction video not too long ago when they announced it. Things like chance, probability, aftertouch, scale and key, polyphonic aftertouch, and things like visualization are gonna change on the Ableton Push 2. It's gonna create a brand new experience for this Ableton Push, I feel. I think it's gonna change the game. If you want to check out more about Ableton Live and the update, I'll put the links below. Make sure to leave a comment. If you use Ableton, what do you like about Ableton? And if you use the Push 2, what are some things that you would like to see in this update on the Push 2 and maybe on the Push 3 when it comes out? I used some snippets from a video I shot with analog cases a couple weeks back performing on the Ableton Push 2. Analog Cases has some really great cases out there on the market, not just for the Ableton Push 2, but for a ton of boutique gear out there. They're worth checking out. If you do own a lot of gear that you take on the road with you, I'll leave that link in the description below as well. I'm Carl Carell. That's gonna do it for Music Gear Monday. We'll catch you here next week. Peace. Somebody sample that, make a beat. All right, I think I'm going crazy. Are you guys going crazy yet?